You think you know someone, until a secret changes everything. This is the story of a grandma everyone thought they knew. A quiet, gentle woman who seemed ordinary, but inside, she carried a secret that could break anyone's heart. She smiled at neighbors, baked cookies for children, waved at passers-by, and yet behind her soft eyes was a life filled with love, loss, and unimaginable sacrifice. What happened to her will make you cry, and it will make you believe in the power of love in ways you might never have imagined. Before we dive into this incredible story, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another emotional true story. And if you love stories about family, hope, and love, give this video a thumbs up. It really helps us bring more stories like this to you. Her name was Evelyn, though everyone called her Grandma Evelyn. She lived in a small town in a house that had seen better days. The paint was chipped, the roof had a few missing tiles, and the garden was overgrown, but inside, her home was warm and alive. The smell of freshly baked bread lingered in the air, the soft crackle of an old radio playing music from decades past could always be heard somewhere in the house. Neighbors knew her as the kind woman who always had time to chat, who would sit on her porch and wave at children walking to school. She always had a warm smile, and she always made people feel like they belonged. But no one knew that 27 years ago, her life had changed in a single night. Her son Daniel, a young father struggling to make ends meet, lost his wife in a tragic accident. She had left behind a newborn baby girl named Lily. Evelyn's world shifted that day. She didn't just help her son. She made a promise to her heart and soul that she would raise Lily as if she were her own. She would sacrifice everything, and she did. She worked long hours at 2 different jobs, barely slept, and often went without meals so that Lily could eat. There were nights when she returned home, aching from exhaustion, but she would always tuck Lily into bed, whispering that everything would be okay, even when she herself had no reassurance. Evelyn cherished every moment with Lily. The sound of her laughter was a melody that filled her home. The way Lily's small hand clutched hers when she was scared brought both comfort and worry. Every drawing Lily made, every shy smile was a treasure. Evelyn didn't just raise a child. She built a universe around her, one filled with warmth, security, and hope. She had once dreamed of traveling, of seeing faraway places, of meeting new people. But those dreams were quietly set aside. All that mattered was Lily. And yet life had a cruel twist in store for Evelyn. When Lily turned 7, distant relatives appeared. They had money, connections, and lawyers, and they promised Lily a better life. A life Evelyn felt she could never provide. The courtroom became a battlefield. Evelyn fought with all her heart, pleading, crying, and hoping. She spoke to the judge about the love she had given Lily, about the nights she had stayed awake to comfort her, about the sacrifices she had made. But legal proceedings were cold and rigid. The relatives had resources Evelyn didn't. And despite her tireless efforts, Lily was taken away. On that bitter winter day, Evelyn packed a small pink backpack with only a few items. A photograph of herself and Lily, a small hand-sewn doll, and a handwritten note. The note simply said, "No matter where you go, I am always your grandma. I will never stop loving you." She handed the backpack to Lily and watched helplessly as her granddaughter was led away. Never looking back, Evelyn returned to her empty house, quiet and still. That day she set only one plate at the table, as if signaling to herself that she would carry this grief alone. Silently, forever. Years passed. Evelyn lived a quiet life. She smiled at neighbors, baked cookies, waved at children, and still went about her routines. Yet inside her heart ached. She never allowed herself to cry in public, never told anyone the full story of Lily's disappearance. She continued to live day by day, hoping, waiting, silently longing for a phone call or letter that never came. Her house remained quiet, and the table stayed set for one. Even though Lily was gone, Evelyn refused to stop caring for children. Every morning at exactly 6:30, she would leave her house and walk 3 blocks to the bus stop. Rain or shine, snow or heat. Where was she going? Not to work, not to shop, not to see friends. She was going to the public library. There, Evelyn volunteered every day, reading stories to children from foster homes. Children who had no one to guide them. She never told these children about her own loss. She simply gave. She shared her warmth, her knowledge, her love, and in doing so, she created a safe place for children who needed her. If you're enjoying this story so far, remember to like this video and subscribe so you never miss emotional true stories that inspire and touch your heart. She imagined Lily in the faces of every child she helped, every smile she inspired, every laugh she encouraged, was a tribute to the granddaughter she had lost. Evelyn's secret wasn't just that she had lost Lily. It was that she carried that loss and transformed it into love for others. For 27 years, she kept this promise. She never stopped loving Lily. She never stopped hoping. She never gave up. Even after Lily had been gone for decades, Evelyn never allowed herself to become bitter. She carried her grief quietly, letting it flow into acts of love rather than resentment. Some days she would sit at her small kitchen table with a cup of tea, staring out the window as the wind rustled the branches of the old oak tree in her yard. She would watch the neighborhood children run past, the dogs chasing sticks, neighbors waving at one another, and she would smile softly, hiding the ache in her chest. She thought about Daniel often, too, her son, who had been left widowed with a newborn in his arms. She remembered the day she had held him after the accident, the way his shoulders had slumped in despair, the way he had looked at her with desperation and helplessness. "Mom, I don't know what to do," he had whispered, his voice cracking. Evelyn had hugged him, kissing the top of his head. "You don't have to do it alone. I'll help you. I'll always be here." And she had kept that promise, though it had cost her years of her own life, her own freedom, and at times, even her own happiness. Every night, after finishing work, Evelyn would carry Lily to bed and read her a story. She remembered the first night she had held Lily, her tiny hands grasping at Evelyn's fingers, her soft cries echoing in the empty house. She had stayed up all night that night, rocking her in her arms, singing lullabies her mother had taught her. And then, in the quiet moments just before dawn, she had whispered a promise to herself. She would never give up on Lily. She would give her all she had, even if it meant she had nothing left for herself. Evelyn's days were full of small, deliberate acts of love. She cooked meals carefully, ensuring Lily had everything she needed. She sewed clothes, washed, and mended. She helped Daniel whenever she could, taking on responsibilities that would have crushed anyone else. There were nights when she cried silently after Lily went to sleep, her body shaking with exhaustion and heartbreak. She would clutch a photograph of her daughter-in-law and whisper, "I will protect her. I will keep her safe. I promise." Her love extended beyond her home. Even after Lily had been taken, Evelyn knew that children everywhere needed guidance and affection. She became a quiet presence in the lives of those around her. She volunteered at the library, reading stories to foster children, listening to their problems and offering gentle advice. She baked cookies for local schools, left books in community centers, and helped wherever she could. Every smile she inspired, every tear she wiped away, was a tribute to the child she had lost, the granddaughter who had been taken from her. There were nights when she imagined Lily in her mind. She pictured her laughing in the playground, making friends, learning to ride a bike, opening her birthday presents. She imagined her voice, her expressions, her tiny hands reaching for hers. Evelyn would write letters to Lily that she never sent, telling her everything she had wanted to say for years. She described the days they had spent together, the little adventures, the bedtime stories, the lessons learned, and every night, she placed the letters in a drawer, knowing that one day, somehow, they might reach Lily. During the holidays, Evelyn's house was alive with small joys. She decorated modestly, lighting candles and placing ornaments on the table. She baked cookies and pies, sending them to foster homes and children in need. She imagined Lily receiving one of these treats, tasting the warmth and love baked into it, and feeling that she had never been forgotten. And in the quiet moments, she whispered, "I love you, Lily. I always have, and I always will." Neighbors often marveled at Evelyn's serenity. They saw her patience, her constant smile, and her gentle nature. What they didn't know was that every act of kindness she performed was a quiet rebellion against despair. Every cookie baked, every story told, every hand held was a way to channel her grief into love. Evelyn had learned early that sorrow could destroy if held inside. By pouring it outward, she had not only survived, but she had created a world of hope around her. And then there were the small miracles, the moments that reminded her that hope could be found even in the darkest corners. One day, a little girl who had never smiled before took Evelyn's hand and whispered, "Thank you for being my friend." Another time, a foster boy, struggling with his homework, looked up at her and said, "I wish my grandma was like you." Evelyn would simply smile, her heart both heavy and full, knowing that in some small way, she was filling the void left by Lily's absence. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss emotional true stories that inspire and touch your heart. Evelyn often revisited memories of Lily's early years. She remembered her daughter-in-law's gentle laugh, the soft way she had rocked Lily to sleep. She remembered Daniel's voice, firm but kind. As he read stories to Lily before school, Evelyn recalled the day they had all gone to the park. How Lily had chased butterflies, and how her little hands had held tightly onto Evelyn's when she stumbled. Each memory was vivid, a fragment of a life that had been interrupted but never forgotten. Even as years passed, Evelyn held on to the hope that she would see Lily again. Every day, she imagined the moment when her granddaughter might walk through the door, when their eyes would meet, and when they could finally embrace. She pictured the smile on Lily's face, the tears in her eyes, and the warmth of the hug that would erase years of pain.